It is Tarot Tuesday, and we've been going through some shifts. We're ending like a pretty big cycle, an 80-year cycle. So, like collectively, there's a lot of things going on. Energetically, you can really feel like I won't say like this weight, but almost like it's almost like a void. Like when we get into this transition phase, it almost feels like we're in like this void state where we don't know where we're going. We don't have like a sense of direction, and it doesn't feel like there's anything on the other side just because of like basically the surprise value of what's going to come through. So you really just don't know what to expect with the transition, and it's not to kind of like scare you or throw you off or make you catch you off guard or anything like that, but it's basically to surprise you and give you like this kind of like something to really be grateful for, because it's not like you haven't put in the work for what you're about to receive, but it's almost like you felt like you didn't do enough or something, or that there wasn't really like enough effort to really see the fruits of your labor. So now you're going to see the fruits of your labor, but there is this surprise element. However, I do want you to recognize that you do have like this King of Pentacles energy, so you really come into this balanced energy where you're prioritizing self. You're really on top of like your emotions. You're like really becoming this master of environment in this nice, like you have you've been working on these leader attributes that allow you to vocalize, communicate, and just be on top of your words and your cognizance, being able to really understand others but also communicate yourself very articulately. So there's this element of, well, you were in this hermit phase for a reason. Like you were going through all this work and putting in all this effort so you could come into this King of Pentacles energy. And then we also have the Knight of Chalices, the Knight of Cups. So if if you're having like this mixed feeling, or if you feel like you feel like you're emotionally like connected to something else, or that there's some type of emotional connection to your path and where you should be, like you like this, it's like this overwhelming knowing. Like if you feel like you have this overwhelming knowing, this connection, let that be like your intuition, let that be your guide into something. If you feel like something is like literally calling you, that's because it is literally calling you to where you need to be. So ride that wave basically, and just allow this to come through for you. Because if you are feeling like there's a few options here, but you're really feeling connected or really feeling like inspired by one thing specific, really go with that, because that is basically your intuition kind of just nudging you and telling you like, hey, we've seen the outcome of this, just choose it. So excuse me. So basically, the choice is always going to be yours. You're always going to have options, but there's always going to be something that's going to be like almost like calling you. This is orange juice. We also need our vitamins, not just water. But this is really, it's going to feel like your intuition's, guiding you into this place. Just learn to trust that and surrender to that trust. Ooh. We have the 3 of Cups as well, the 3 of Chalices. So you're gonna see like with this trusting your intuition and trusting the process, like you're going to be connected or even like reconnected with your soul tribe. So people that like are on the same wave of you. You're gonna see a lot of synchronicity, a lot of like shared experiences. Like you're gonna feel like actually connected to these individuals, like there's some sort of like esoteric purpose, and not so much like where you guys all have like this same specific mission, but you're gonna feel a lot more familiarity with their presence. And then we also have a lot of like I know that we just had Valentine's Day. Materialism aside, romance is still in the air, especially with spring. It's kind of like this mating season. Nature wise, like, everything's kind of waking up from their slumber, trying to reproduce. So, it's just in nature itself, it is a season for romance. So there's this sort of like connection with a specific person coming in for you where this is gonna be like, a partnership, something that's very receptive and very like equal given exchange. So there is this kind of like it's basically you're getting pushed towards your divine path. I want you to know. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so you're basically like you're getting pushed towards your divine path, so that's why it feels like there is like this sort of like silence and almost like quietness just because like, spirit wants to basically like surprise you with this. This is like something that you earned and deserve, like you did the work, but spirit's just like I want to give this to you as a present, so I'm going to kind of surprise you. So just take it like that. We do have the 6 of Wands here. So there's like this victory element, like this small victory. It's gonna really help your self-confidence. It's really gonna show you some more appreciation for like the work that you put in. And it's gonna show you a lot more of, of your own self-worth, because even though we prioritize our self-worth and our self-care and our just, ourselves, our mental health, there is still like this element of like sometimes we do need to be shown our worth. Like it's not always about external validation. Sometimes like we just need to be shown our worth because sometimes we get stuck in these jobs, sometimes we get stuck in these relationships, these friendships because we want to be like the bigger person, or we want to try to give like people opportunity to grow themselves or to make space for them emotionally. Like we have to like learn at some point in our lives to disconnect ourselves from wanting that, because no matter how much time or space or opportunity we allow other people, does it not necessarily mean that they're ever going to take that opportunity. Usually that sort of thing comes from self-discipline and allowing them like that leeway. And this isn't, a tell-all answer. This isn't to say that nobody's going to grow up, but at the end of the day, self-discipline comes from yourself. It doesn't come from, given all these chances and opportunities and all these excuses by other people. That doesn't that's not really what's going to be the changing factor in somebody's behavior or anything like that. What's going to change their behaviors themselves. So being a little bit of more honest and raw with your communication in that will, kind of show them, okay, well, they're not receptive to my toxicity or whatever it is, my narcissistic behaviors. And we're not, labeling everybody, but, they're not responding to what I'm putting out there. So maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I should just kind of self reflect. And so that's like, it's not your priority. It is not your job. It is not your duty to fix, help, uh, or anything like that. It is not your duty. I know that sometimes we do, need to help other people. And that's not to say that we, can't provide and help other people. But sometimes, it does take that sort of like, self discipline, that kind of like knock in the face, that, that slap in the face where, you get a reality check. So, sometimes it does take that. So just always remember that, sometimes we just got to step away. And I know that I elaborated on that for a long time just because this did pop out on the floor. The Tower card. So the Tower card, and I do want to kind of allow you a little self-reflection on this because this actually did come up on the TikTok as well. Our TikTok tarot reading. It was actually the first card. And to kind of reiterate this a little bit further, like this tower is basically trying to cut you off from anything that you are staying connected to. Like if you were staying like really attached to like a job or something that's just really debilitating you or just kind of keeping you in place where you are and it's not allowing you to grow or to further pursue anything, like those things will come up in a tower moment. So basically to kind of like rip them from your grasp And I know that that sounds frustrating and infuriating. But those things, like, we get so attached to these patterns, to comfortability, and we become compliant in our own repetition. So that's really important to remember, that sometimes the universe is looking out for us and taking things away from us, even if it feels like super duper great, awesome candy. Like, sometimes we just don't know what's best for us, and I know that that is infuriating to hear, and maybe a little hypocritical. However, like, sometimes we get put in these positions, and like, we have like these tendencies to stay chemically connected, because we have like literal chemicals, like the drugs that we take, they connect with the brain cells, the chemicals that are already in our brains. Like, those things are connected to the drugs that are already in our brain. So just with that thought alone, understanding that you have drugs within your brain that can be triggered and stimulated by your surroundings and people and situations, then you can understand a little bit deeper of your psyche and your addictions, your detachments, your attachments to things. Like, those things will allow you to understand like the chemical connection that you have to people, places, and things. So I know that that's on like a deeper psychological side of consciousness. However, there's like a lot of ways to tap into that and to understand more of yourself, and that is through shadow work. But yeah, with that being said, like, the tower, again, it is not a bad card. It is not something like negative to experience. I know that it can be, extremely nerve-wracking at times, but usually, babe, that's your flight or fight response, and that's just you also being able to recognize that you need to take care of yourself, and you need to prioritize your emotional state, your well-being, so that you don't get triggered by these flight or fight responses just because of um moving or shifting in your life, because those things are important for us to go through and experience. And then we do have the Two of Wands, so it is like, I think too, at the same time, like with that Tower card, it's not something that you're afraid of. But it's just, a reminder. But we do have the Two of Wands here, so there's this like opportunity to kind of like plan ahead, look ahead. Look at the things that didn't work out in the past, and try to find a better solution, a better way, or just approach these things with full throttle and just move forward, basically. But you're given this opportunity to kind of plan further ahead. And then we have, let me see. Yeah, okay, so this is kind of contradictory. It's strange. So we do have like the Two of Swords here too. So I feel like, although we may be planning some things ahead, there's this kind of like blind entry into where we're headed. So like, we're not really gonna see exactly where we're going, which will also allow some of our fears to surface. So we're no longer avoiding the truth, and so we can kind of like, see a lot more of like ourselves and our own self-doubt and the things that were actually holding us back, that were internal. So you can see those things for what they are, face value, and kind of like approach them directly, so they aren't debilitating you or making you feel like you should be held back or that you should hold back, you know? So let's just get a couple more cards, because I actually have to cut it here short here in just a second. Or not a second, but here in just a minute. We do have the Five of Wands. So really, really coming into this kind of like communal, spiritual essence. Like, when you feel like you're coming into something like that's like bigger than you, don't get too conflicted on like everything is going to be meant for you, because even though things are coming into your life, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're always like meant for you as like a lesson or as something esoteric or some higher divine meaning. Some things are just face value. So just kind of remember that too. So you're not holding anybody or anything to like some higher, not a higher standard, but like holding it above you or holding it with this kind of like divinity value. Like you don't want to see something as having like this divine value over your life, because that gives it kind of like this sense of like power. I know this is, maybe this is strange, maybe it doesn't make sense for everybody, but like your divinity isn't like this like power of submission. Like you don't submit to divinity. Divinity submits through you. Like it learns who you are. It teaches you more about yourself, and then it teaches you how to kind of work with energy, so you're not feeling like you were again powerless to this divinity. You can utilize this divinity within you to, inspire and conspire like a better timeline for yourself, so you can experience more in your life. So it's not to say that, there's this divine power over you that's making all of these choices in your life. It's really just showing you the possibilities. So don't ever take anything as having this significant like divine value, because there will be like other spiritual gurus and people around you in life that will swear that they have everything figured out, and those are the red flags that you always want to look out for, of course. But yeah, don't let these sort of things kind of make you compromise or lose parts of who you are just because they tell you that this will give you more divine purpose, or it will get you all the things that you want and desire and need. Don't go in with anything or anybody, I should say, that teaches you that like you can manifest a better life and whatever you want. However, just coming in with this divine esoteric belief that everything is above you and that you can manipulate everything around you, that is not the purpose of manifestation. And it is that in alone is going to cause a little bit more chaos in your personal life, because you have these like divine expectations for things to work out specifically the way you expect them to. And we have to remember that we are all connected energetically. That doesn't mean that we can just manipulate the entire world around us. No, we can conspire with the universe to shift things in alignment to work with us, and the efforts and the the more that we put in energetically, the more that we're going to receive as well. So it's like this energetic exchange here. So it's not to say that, a lot of people see these type of powers, this energetic manipulation, like something like evil or um chaotic, demonic, something like that. Like those things are not to manipulate or to, it's our literal divine connection. Think of it, my best opinion, my best way to describe it, we're in a simulation. We're all energy. We're all in like this computerized world, but everything is physical at the same time. So we're all connected energetically and consciously. That's why like there are forms of psychic abilities, telekinesis. In a sense, everything puts out its frequency. Like you can literally look at plant music. You can look at things and their frequencies, the things that they put out. There's like literal energy waves that animals and plants put out, so you can get a better understanding of like how all of this interconnects as a whole. So you're not looking at it from like this religious perspective that everything is, by a book and standard. Like the world is always evolving and learning from itself, so that's why we are also connected too, because the world is learning from itself. It's like a computer AI that teaches itself evolution. Look at that. That's literally the way to look at things. I don't know if I have a strange mind. Maybe that's a little too out there for some of us, but that's the way I look at things. Sometimes that can be very overwhelming to think about. But if you just think about it, with an open mindset, then it won't be so big and scary. Anyways, so we're going to pull one card from the Star Code Astro Oracle deck, and then I think we'll actually talk about this moon card too, because this moon card keeps it was still popping out like over and over again. These are really hard to shuffle, so we'll pull from the top. We have Saturn, so really about structurizing yourself. Structure is very important. So if there's anything again that you've written down or worked on in the past, and you just kind of like put it on your shelf, dust it off, take some notes, write some things down, and just work some stuff out. So you can kind of figure out a better solution, a better way to approach it. And that will be your answer to basically whatever you're trying to manifest. If there's something that, you're manifesting, something either specific or just generalized, like you want a small business, you want, you want to be self-employed, that's your career goals, your manifestation goals. Like anything that you have written down on the past and you just kind of put it on the shelf, just like allow yourself to come back to it and allow yourself to kind of realign yourself with it to sensitize. So realign yourself with it. So whatever it is that was kind of like your struggle in the past, it won't really be a struggle now because you'll come back with like a better perspective and you'll just be ready to just make action and just take action, achieve. So this little go energy, Capricorn. So let's pull one more card from the moon deck. Oh wait, no, this one was the one that came out. This actually came out in the last video. I did not post this video, just had some audio issues. But the video I tried to record yesterday came out. I harness the fiery flames of the lion's heart to cleanse what no longer serves my joy. I courageously step forward, expecting the unexpected, holding faith in the vision, and feeling rooted in my strength. Which is crazy too. It didn't come out today, but we also had the strength card too yesterday. Again, I didn't post that video, I'm sorry. Still working with some new stuff here. Thank God my mic was on. I looked down, I didn't see the light. It looked like it was off. Anyway, but so it did come up, the strength card, which had the lion on it, and then we also got this one, which is in like, these are two separate decks, by the way, but this one also, obviously a lion and strength, they're very, they're often symbolized, but I thought that was really, really cool, because, yeah, we need to work on our inner strength and our inner trust, our confidence above anything else, especially with this coming new year. Well, not coming, we're in the new year, but spring is when it really starts. So with this spring coming in, we really want to emphasize on working on our inner strength, our inner confidence, just building that up. Even if you have to fake it to make it, that is like your first leap of faith. Like, just fake it till you make it, and eventually it will stick in your mind because you're rewiring your brain to have this self-confidence. Like, sometimes those things are difficult to really believe, but if you just lie to yourself enough, just like all the negative things you used to tell yourself, which was also a lie, you know how those things stuck? Guess what? You can do that to a positive mindset too. Like, you can literally delusionary lose yourself in self-confidence. I think at some point you want to be a little realistic on your expectations of self, but you should boost yourself up. You should be liking your own content. You should be putting yourself out there. You should be vocalizing yourself. You should be communicating. You should be confident. And even if you're not like, perfect at anything, do not be a perfectionist. Like, I'm a Virgo. It is my biggest feat and challenge is being a perfectionist. I literally got a reading today about not being a perfectionist, and I know I didn't post the video yesterday, I get it, trust me, spirit, I get it, but it is our biggest feat. It is our biggest feat is looking at ourselves in our own reflection. So do some mirror work, and that will actually help you. Look at the mirror behind me, isn't that cute? So do the mirror work, and it will help you boost your self-confidence. You want to make sure if you are making videos that you need to look in the camera a little more often. That's me talking to myself. But, there's these things that we can always work on with ourselves and boosting our own self-confidence. It's not something that's just going to happen overnight. Be realistic with yourself, but also be self-disciplined enough that you're not giving up on that. You need to continuously do yourself a favor and boost your own self-confidence by prioritizing self-care, your self-worth, your self-love, and just being realistic too, though, with your growth, because you don't know everything. You don't have everything figured out, and God forbid that you ever did, because who would want that? But the thing is, when we allow ourselves this like ability to grow and to be like, a failure, I know that that sounds salty and strange, but like when you allow yourself to be a failure at some point in your life, you're going to allow yourself to grow. So take everything as its wholeness, but also break things down into little pieces too, so you can understand the process better and allow yourself this process of growth, allow yourself this little more freedom to be more self-confident, because self-confidence is something that like each of us develop anyway. I just want you to realize this, like nobody famous just had like all of this self-confidence. If you look at a lot of famous people, now this is like, I'm not into like celebrityism or whatever, but when you do look at some of these celebrities, some of them were dorky ass people growing up. I'm a dorky ass person. I don't know if I'll ever be a model. But my point is like, there's some people who are really great looking and they used to be really dorks. They used to be like the biggest dorks in like school, middle school, high school, whatever. Like, just understand that everyone at some point was more humanized when they were, less popular. Like they had this more sense of like connection, like you could reflect and feel a little bit more familiar with that sort of aspect of, growing and learning. When you allow yourself that, not everything is face value, there are so many things that you miss out on intellectually, like you don't see everything that happens in somebody else's life. When you realize that, and then you also realize that they're people too, and they go through like their own form of struggles and stuff, like you realize like, not nobody has everything figured out, and even when they have a lot in their life materialistically, like they don't have everything figured out. So when you're allowing yourself this process of growth, you'll feel way more connected with earth, you'll feel more grounded, you'll feel more positive even with the negativity in life. So you'll feel like, this is just a part of the wave, this is just a part of the process. No, things are not everything is not always going to be perfect, but in a perfect world that wouldn't really like, anyway, intellectually, on a deeper level aside, like those expectations that you place on yourself, they aren't allowing you to really grow and succeed into the person that you need to be. So lose yourself, detach yourself from that perfectionist aspect and allow yourself to grow, and then that will allow you a lot more freedom to practice, because you're not being so negative on yourself. You're not, trying to be this perfectionist. And then you'll put yourself out there even if you're not like, perfect at something, and you'll be putting more content out there, and you'll realize that some of those things that you didn't believe were perfect, somebody else out there believes that it is. So just because you yourself believe that you're the eye of the beholder, you are not, bro. Like, you have this inner dialogue that you're always going to be competing with, but if you learn how to treat that inner dialogue as a tool and not a weapon, then you'll become this master of self, and that will alone teach you how to put yourself out there more, allow yourself to boost your confidence on a natural level, so you're not being delusionary with your self-confidence, and you can really kind of analyze yourself from an integral level and see the things that you can actually work on. So allow yourself that freedom of growth. I'm sorry that we ranted for this long, but maybe this makes up for me not recording or not posting yesterday's recording. So yeah, I hope you did enjoy today's Tarot Tuesday. We'll be doing way more content. I am working on a schedule, like a consistent schedule for streaming and for content. So just be patient with me with that as I look for my own inner balance. But I'm getting there. I am. And we'll be aligned here really soon. It's been, a tricky transition with this shift, but it's important for us to kind of take this slow time to really look at everything that we've gone through, all of our internal and external conflicts, and kind of reshift and rewire them so we can learn some more about the things that we need to work on a personal and developmental level so we can improve ourselves career wise and personally. So I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed today's rant about perfectionism and how we need to allow ourselves to grow, because it is important and it is the message for the day and for the year, because we need to put ourselves out there. I love you. If you want a private reading, the link is in my bio, and I do go live on Twitch. You can always catch a live reading there as well. I do them by donation, so as little as $1, you can get a free, or not necessarily free, but a very cheap reading live. Okay, bye.